Hi, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for being here today. Yeah, I hope you all enjoy a great time reconnecting with your friends, classmates, and professors. My name is Biwen Huang from class 2024 of MIT Sloan Fellows MBA program. And let's welcome Bill Olet and Jenny. Bill is a world famous, so everyone knows him. I will pass it to you.
Let's go. Thank you. All right. So it's great to see you all here. So we're going to talk about, this is going to be the most exciting talk you've heard until the next one, which Jenny's doing. So how many of you are entrepreneurs out here? Why didn't you raise your hand, sir? No, the one behind you. Sir, why didn't you raise your hand?
Don't know, actually. I'm not,
Well, if you didn't raise your hand, you're crazy, because you better be an entrepreneur. Because if you're not an entrepreneur, you're not going to survive. Entrepreneurs are people who embrace change and make it a positive thing. And as the great Sloan graduate who never graduated from here, Biggie Smalls, said, you got to turn a negative into a positive. And that's what we're doing. So we're going to just jump right into it. Who has an idea for a new company? Yes, sir, over there in the corner. Yeah, what did you just go like that? What was that? Who has an idea for a company that wants to run it? All right. Wait, you've already got one. Who doesn't believe it? Who's got an idea for a new company? Okay, sir, what is it?
An AI system that gets kids off of their phones.
Okay. All right. Have we ever met each other before? No. And we have not gone over this idea. What we're going to do in the next 10 minutes is we're going to flesh out this idea and make a business plan. Okay? All right. This is Doug Williams over here. This is not me, although this is my doppelganger. And AI assistant to get kids off their phone. This is literally all we're putting in there. And we didn't know this. This is exactly what we tell our students not to do, is do live demos, and that's precisely what we're going to do. All right? Now, where's Esteban Lubinsky? He's here. Esteban, this is what I told you never to do, remember? He was a TA 10 years ago. Welcome back. How many of you are from the class 10 years ago? Of all the Sloan classes that we've ever had here, this is one of them. And I really want to acknowledge that right now. Right? But Esteban, where's Laura Diamond, Lucia Cam, Jim McGovern, who's not here, I spoke to this morning, Devin Cook. Is Devin here? You were TAs back 10 years ago. And so what we're going to do is going to make you very mad, because all the stuff you had to do in the class, we can do in seconds now. Literally. AI assistant to get kids off their phone, okay? What's the first thing we do? The first thing we do is we go in here and you can see this has not been choreographed. It comes down here, and I'll show you more what's going on. And then we click on here, we go to disciplined entrepreneurship. This in here is our methodology that we've worked over the past 20 years, and we actually know works. By the way, sorry. I feel like Rudy Giuliani here.
We can change it to get adults off their phone.
So this we know works. Like, we're MIT, we test everything. And we know that this works. We just have a 10-year longitudinal study, amongst other things that was just completed, shows that people who use this methodology, 5 years after they do it, they're in business at a rate of 69%. 69%. And we constantly are modifying this. So we know that it works. The first thing we do after we have an idea is market segmentation. Doug, can we go to market segmentation? And if you want to know what market segmentation is, you can click on this video right here. and you will see this will describe to you what market segmentation is. What are you going to get out of that? You're going to get this matrix. This matrix has 16 items in here that you would have to go out and do a whole ton of market research on to find out. And then we can tell you about it. But let's go back to the AI assistant. And the AI assistant in this has told us what are the top 5 markets and filled out all 16 of those items. Yeah, make sure your tray is in a locked and upright position because we are only starting here, all right? This is mind-blowing, all right? We can go down here. It said, what are the top 5 things parents of age 8 to 15, school and educational, child psychologists, pediatric technology companies focus on? Those are the first cut it has come up with. Is that perfect? No, not necessarily. But we got it instantaneously, and then it filled out all 16 of these things. That is mind-blowing, just to be clear. That, if you took our class, we would have expected you to get maybe one of those, and it would take you 2 months to get that. And I'll go, what's going on here? So now we can go through this, and we would then say, all right, parents of children age 18 to 15, and we would spend a little more time saying, well, is that upper middle class, lower middle class, upper class, whatever. We could segment this further. And we would get all the information instantaneously. We can do market segmentation at a level that no one has ever seen before. Not because we wrote the AI, because we're using AI that's already out there, and I'll talk to you about how this is working. So after we did this a few times, we would iterate. We would then take the market segments that we said we liked. Can we go back to that, Doug? And then let's just copy and put those in, and we update the idea. And so we have now completed the first step of the 24 steps. And we could spend 10 minutes, we could spend a day on it, we could spend 2 days or whatever. Now when we go back in there, let's go back to the steps again. We've completed the first of the 24 steps. Well, what's the next thing we do? If you look at all the potential customers, you have to choose one. That's called a beachhead market. We know this works. We've tested it with thousands of companies. If you look at Jeff Bezos, it dramatically increases your odds if you're a startup, even a startup in a large company, to focus down on one specific market, like Jeff Bezos did. He didn't try to do everything at first. Startups who focus on one, nail it, and then scale it are much more likely to be successful. So let's click on that. If you want to know what that is, again, you can go to the video. You can see there's a video to explain it. This looks like a horror movie, but it will actually explain it to you in a lecture, all right? And then the matrix tells you what's going to come out of it right here. Again, we have refined this over 20 years to figure out what are the things that make for a good beachhead market. And by the way, we didn't invent all this. We laterally innovate that from other people. Laterally innovate means steal. But since we're talking to MBAs, we call it laterally innovate, right? And now it goes through, and it's used those criteria to evaluate which of these are, how would you think about these things as beachhead markets? And it says the number one here is that the 8 to 15? 8 to 15, and it tells you why. And you would go through with your team and you would discuss this. Is this right? Do we think there's something different here? Okay, now let's see what's the second one. What's the second one it's recommending to us?
Schools and educational institutions.
Schools, is that at the bottom? Was that number 2?
Oh, I see, yeah.
See, oh, it is number 2. And it gives us a lot more. It's telling us what we should think about these different market segments. This is, again, mind-blowing, ladies and gentlemen. It's absolutely mind-blowing. And so now let's say we would, just having this, you can have a discussion with your founding team or other people or your board as to, this is what we're thinking of doing. What do you think? Oh, let's change it. And instantaneously, you can get an evaluation of another beachhead market. Well, maybe we don't like that one. It doesn't align with our values. We have other assets that this system isn't aware of. Remember, all we put in was the 10 words that you gave us for this, and we're already down into this. But let's say we overrode it and we took pediatricians and healthcare providers. And we're going to say that's going to be our market. So you can see he copies this, or you would copy it and put it into here. It would update your idea. And now what we do is we go to the next step. The next step is again, proven by thousands of companies, plus when you look at research, Procter & Gamble, other people, who is, what's the demographic? Who's your customer? What's the demographic? What's the psychographic? It will give you a first draft of this instantaneously here. Demographic, psychographic, proxy products, watering holes, a day in the life, all this stuff is incredibly valuable to you. And when Esteban and Laura and Lucia and all used to, they would die to get anything that looked like this, and you would get an A in the class, right? Now you can literally get this stuff in 10 minutes. It's a first draft of what you do. So, and then we could go all the way through this. Can we just go back and show the steps again? We could go through here, and we would tell you how big the beachhead is, who's one customer that represents that beachhead in depth, what's the job to be done, full life cycle use case, what's the high level product specification, what's the quantified value proposition, who are the first 10 customers? And we don't have right now, but you go around. Here's LinkedIn. Here's the people you'd want to go talk to who could be your first 10 customers. What's your competitive advantage? How do you compare to the competition? Determine your decision-making unit. Who's the end user? Who's the economic buyer? Who's the champion? How do they acquire it? Then what are the follow-on markets that you would go after, and how big are they? And what order might you think about that? How should you extract value here? Should it be a one-time? Should it be a consumable? Should it be a subscription? Should it be a operating and maintenance? How should we price it? What's the LTV? This, ladies and gentlemen, is mind-blowing. And so what's the upshot of this? And by the way, we'll give you a video and we'll give you slides on this if you're interested. And if you give us a big enough check, we'll give you access to it. But this is what we're using with our students today. And the process of making a startup used to be this long. It can do it like that. And the ramifications of that are multiple. First of all, it's much easier to be an entrepreneur. It is much easier. The barrier to get there is much lower than it's ever been before. Secondly, it is something that you're much better at because you can iterate. When you all started companies before, we just did one of these things and we couldn't analyze all the other ones. Think of a spreadsheet. The value of a spreadsheet is not so much that you can calculate something much faster than on a calculator, but it's if you want to make changes and look at it one way and look at it another way, you can run different scenarios. And that makes you much more confident of the result, and you make a better decision. And so when you take this and then you shrink it down to this, you all of a sudden start focusing on those things that make it really special to be an entrepreneur. How do you build teams? What's the creativity? The forward-looking. Because essentially, if this is a process to do a startup, all the stuff that we're taking out is backward-looking stuff. It's how do you do secondary market research? And guess who's better at doing secondary market research than anyone in this room? Is LLMs. Because human beings have to sleep at night. And they have finite memories. LLMs do not. They can search everything super fast, they don't forget it, and they can kind of put things together. So what you're doing is taking a process where most of it was secondary market research that we can replace now with LLMs, and then we can shrink that down so that now we're getting into those things about creativity. Are you talking to customers? Are you doing primary market research? Do you know how to build teams? And that is super, super exciting. So let's just go, can we go to the slides now for a second? The slides?
This is his laptop, right?
Oh, no, that's not his. Haley, do we have the slides? All right, well, actually, we don't need the slides. Good. So what's going on here? Because this is MIT. You want to know. All right.
Bill, where's your laptop?
It's over here. I'll just do this. This is. We improvised, Jenny. I don't know if you know that. So what's going on here is LLMs give enormous amount of power to us. LLMs have spent billions of dollars on this, not trillion, And now we can just plug into them like a utility. So we use whatever you want, ChatGPT, Claude, whatever you want, except Grok. We don't use Grok, all right? That's a joke. But we don't. And then once you have this power, the question is, how do you harness it? And can anyone do what we just showed you? The answer is no, because there's this thing in here that it's an app lever. It's called Stack AI for those of you who want to get really technical. And this is a layer of abstraction that allows you to use whatever LLM you want, so that when we write our prompt library on top of this, our prompt library is the essence of what the magic is here. Because we have gone through and we know how to do startups, and we've refined this in a system dynamics way with lots of integrating lots of things together, we have the most sophisticated prompt library in the world by far right now. And that's what makes it, and then we put a nice user interface on it here. And now you have this thing called Jetpack. And that's what I just showed you. And so Jetpack, we'll send you slides that will explain this and give you links. If you just YouTube MIT Entrepreneurship Jetpack, you will see a video produced by Sherry. Are you here? Sherry Von Cleve, who got access to this, an executive MBA, and put it up on LinkedIn, and it blew up. And it shows you how this worked in the real world, not just in our classroom. But that will give you access. And that's how this works, and that's why this is so magical, because it can do this stuff because the prompt library is super sophisticated. Okay, so now I want to open it to questions, because this will be when it gets much more interesting. And by the way, incentives for questions are these autographed books right here. One of the most epic books ever written. Who has a, yes, ma'am.
Does it provide links to where the source material is found? References?
Oh, by the way, I should have introduced right here Doug Williams. He is the person who wrote the code for this, and he has been the CTO at 7 startups, including Zipcar, Runkeeper, and his applications have over 65 million users. And he's the magic behind this. He went to Princeton, and we all have issues. He went to Harvard Business School. But he's seen the light to come back to the right place.
Yeah, so the question is, do we show the citations? Right now we're using OpenAI 4.0 Mini, which doesn't give citations. And what we recommend to the students or the users is check the data. You can export the data and check it in different models. We're talking to Perplexity. But we really want to speed up the secondary market research and have the users check the data some more. So it comes up a lot, but that's our answer, and it's worked well. That's how I use it.
Yes, sir. Does that answer your question, ma'am? Yes. We can get into a lot more on that, but let's pass this back to the man in the blue. Where are you from, sir? Morocco. Morocco? And what program are you in? MFin 15. MFin. Oh, great. Great to have you. By the way, what program were you in, ma'am?
Sloan, master's 90.
1990.
90? Oh, whoa. 25 years. By the way, I give a lot of credit to Rob Ketterson and Scott Maxwell from your class, who helped develop the vision for this and helped fund it to start with. Make sure you mention to them that I mentioned them, because they were unbelievably helpful in this. Yes, sir.
So yeah, how do we make sure that people will keep their personal touch and not be biased and follow whatever answers are?
Okay, excellent. This is an assistant. This is not the shell answer man who gives you the deterministic answer. Entrepreneurship is a craft. There is no algorithm that will ever give you the right answer for entrepreneurship. This is an assistant. As we like to say, it's like having 100 MIT undergraduates that you ask them a question and they can instantaneously give you the answer to it. You know, you have to then take that and interpret that and think about forward-looking what this is. This is everything that's happened in the past. You have to say, how is it going forward? And that's what entrepreneurs are about. What's changing? How do we look at it differently? So by the way, there's not one single answer that gives you entrepreneurship successfully. You can have the same plan as HubSpot did or Marketo did, but they just implemented it in different ways. Okay.
In what we've emphasized a lot that use a computer to
I'm going to get the other book. Yep.
use a computer to spend more time with humans. That's the real emphasis.
Yeah.
Is the computer's doing it quickly in the background, but you're going to win as an entrepreneur when you spend time with real people.
Yes. All right, the next question comes from Laura Diamond in the back. Laura? Where'd you go, Laura? She left. All right, next question is coming from Esteban Lubinsky because he needs this book because he has a new baby.
You still need TAs after this.
Oh, you don't earn a book for that. Yes, ma'am. What program are you from?
SFMBA 24.
Sloan Fellow.
Yes.
So am I. Yeah. So I'll make sure to use small words and short sentences for the Sloan Fellows, all right? That's, just so we're clear, that's what do they call it? Self-hating, hating. Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said. And I also went to Harvard before you complain about the Harvard stuff. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Do
you mind just running this back?
How can I use this when, let's say, a startup comes to me? How can I use this assistant to determine whether this
Did everyone hear the question? Yeah, how can you use this if I'm sitting on the board or I'm evaluating something? Damn if you don't, you're crazy. We have a VC that's using it now. They love it because they go into the board meeting and they're so much more informed than the package that they got from them. Now they can ask questions around it about a whole bunch of other things. To me, this is a complete game changer. And if you as an advisor, if you as a board member, if you as an investor start using it, guess who's going to have to start using it? The entrepreneurs. And then the whole game will go up. Okay, good. We got a lot of questions, and the only thing I have left here is a new thesis from Billy Dale about how this is used. I'm not kidding. This is a great thesis, though. All right? Wait, I want to get someone in the back. Yes, man in the red. What are you? Oh my God. Oh, sorry.
Actually, I have a technical question. So, will this for the LLM every time? So, how would the cost be? I mean, if you call the API every time, then you probably, incur
The costs of it. Yeah. So the LLM costs are moving to commodity. It's an arms race on it, and so the particular model that we're using is very incremental from a variable cost perspective. So we're using the one that's most effective for the job we're doing. The imaging ones, some of the video ones are more expensive, but this is very inexpensive, and OpenAI is going to continue to get us the best fit at the lowest cost.
So would you consider local that you can have your local knowledge about yourself and you would know?
Just give them one of those stickers.
So the question is the local knowledge. One thing that was
By the way, we
important-
need the book back. We need that thesis back because you're not going to care about the thesis.
So someone just wrote
We'll give you a sticker. Don't worry, you got a sticker. No, it's not a technical thesis. This is for
Okay, I can.
Yeah.
report back my-
So
okay.
the data.
Wait. I don't want to get into the technical stuff here. We'll go. Who is a professor here? Anyone a professor of entrepreneurship? You can hold your hand up, Miguel. All right. He gets that thesis. Are you a professor too? Not really? Neither am I. So this is going to change entrepreneurship education, and this is what this thesis is about. That's why I pulled it away, not because you're a Sloan Fellow. But this is what entrepreneurship education is going to be at in the future. How do you use this tool and teach people how to use it? Because you have to teach them correctly. Because if they just think they're getting the answer, no. It's like we force them to use it, to give 3 iterations on it, and then to show what else did they do beyond that? How did they do those extra things around it, right? And so Miguel, what's your question? Well, thank you for the bottle of wine. That's your thesis, all right? Who has a question? Oh, you know his question. So what are you, sir? Are you his probation officer or what?
Yeah, I'm his representative.
Yes.
NBA 2000.
Not very loud group, though. Very governed.
How do you, so nowadays when I look at the LLMs, they're better and better at exploring related ideas. So when I put the original idea, is there a way that it can give me suggestions about the market definition and how
This is really interesting.
should I think about adjacent markets that may be more interesting, competition, etc.?
So everyone here's question. This is really interesting because if you look at Perplexity now and the way AI systems are going, they're no longer just doing, let's do the secondary market research for you. They're saying, here are the other questions that you want to ask. No, we are not there yet. But that is a way to go. Yes, next question. Yeah, well, he earned a sticker. No, he already got a thesis. Forget it. Yes, sir. What class are you?
AGP 1975.
Holy cow! God bless you. That is 50 fucking years. He deserves something. Here, do you want my wallet, sir? He needs something.
So the question is, will this really be applicable for a startup nonprofit?
100%. Everything we do is about creating. You deserve more than that. Talk to Resource Development. They'll get you a book, all right? No, let me be clear. We do not see entrepreneurship as a profiteering exercise. We believe entrepreneurship is an ethical activity to change the world for the better. You create value, you extract value, and that can be for profit, it can be nonprofit, it can be in government, it can be in academia, it needs to be everywhere. And that's really, really important to us. Because you're not creating, we're not about making money, we're about creating an economically sustainable organization that will do positive things for the world. And no organization just goes like this. They go up, they go down, and so we always talk about they have to have a raison d'etre. Raison d'etre is Spanish that means reason for existence. Oh, really? It's French. I didn't know that. No, but this is really what, and that's, I'm very serious about this. MIT is about creating mission-driven, and you're going to hear this from the people here, and you see ours. We did a study, and this, if this doesn't make you proud, this will make you very proud. We did a study 10 years. 69% are still in business after 5 years or sold or successful. Even if they go out of business, they actually do better. They continue being entrepreneurs. They raised $1 billion. The ones who started over, they raised $2 billion. But what I was going to say is that 89% of those companies are directly aligned with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Let me repeat that, 89%. We're not doing cryptocurrency BS or new dating apps or social media stuff. We're solving profound problems here. Oh, by the way, over 50%, or it's about 50% now, I think, of the CEOs are female. Yeah. So we really believe deeply in this, and as Suzanne Oakley knows, the new head of Greentown Labs, which was a spinoff. I don't know if Pedro Santos, where are you, Pedro? Oh, you're out of jail. Good to see you, Pedro. All right. There was a startup of ours, and they brought back to run it again Georgie Campbell, who's one of our pros. So we're very, very, very much involved with this. All right, I'm getting the hook from Jenny. So at this point, I will introduce Jenny Larios Berlin, who's going to actually show you these people. But we will make the slides available today, and that includes a YouTube video. And if you are interested in helping out like Scott Maxwell and Rob Ketterson did, we would be enormously grateful to you for that. So thank you very much. Thank you to Doug Williams and Paul Cheek, who helped drive this from the get-go.
Yeah, actually, one of the other things, if you scroll up, Doug, quickly, Doug Williams, if you scroll up just a bit. Oh no, you killed my connection to the laptop. No! Okay, great, good job. So if you see that startup tactics here, so one of the things that we've also been working on is building up our body of work in educating entrepreneurship. And one of the newest classes is called Startup Tactics. And so think about discipline entrepreneurship as here's the business plan, and here is Startup Tactics to get you in the weeds of executing. And so we've also added that. And the thing that Bill didn't talk about is that there's a series of other discipline entrepreneurship books that are really going into the weeds of particular industries. One that's coming out in the fall is about climate and climate tech ventures. So stay tuned for more on that. Okay, let's get started with celebrating entrepreneurs from our class. First of all, a question for you. How many of you leveraged your time at MIT to pivot into entrepreneurship? Show of hands. And keep your hands up. How many of you leveraged Sloanies Helping Sloanies to push you forward? Yes. Yes, yes. This is why you're here. This is why we're doing the second half. It's about Sloanies helping Sloanies, and I hope you feel that when you're here. I hope the conversations remind you of this network that you have, that is here for you, will always be here for you, and you can continue to leverage. So what we're going to do now is we're going to celebrate 3 of our entrepreneurs. They're going to come, they're going to give a 5-minute pitch, and then we're going to stop, and we're going to have a conversation. Here's the question that I have for you. When you were listening to them, what got you excited? They want to hear that feedback. When you listened to them, what was still confusing to you? Because that's useful feedback too. And the third thing is, how can you help? How can we continue to pay it forward? That is the charge. You're with me? Yes? Okay. All right, let's get started. Okay, so first up, Michelle. She's co-founder and chief science officer of LimeAlert. But the thing that I want to tell you is that when I was a co-director of Delta V, which is the premier startup accelerator here on campus, LimeAlert was one of the companies. And while she was participating, she had to start to divide her time between DC and here. And one of the things that I loved about you, Michelle, was your grace and your diligence and your focus. No matter where you were, I knew that you were giving your whole heart to whatever it is that was there in front of you. So I'm just so thankful that everybody here gets to hear about LimeAlert. Please help me welcome her.
Okay, am I in control? Not yet, maybe. Ah, great. Thank you, Jenny. I didn't think I was going to have to worry about crying before I started, but we'll just keep pushing forward. I'm Dr. Michelle Avey, Sloan Fellow 24, and I would like for you guys to join me on a hike. This is your dog, Benny. You love taking Benny for hikes in the woods near your house. It's one of your favorite things to see him run through the brush, jump over logs, while you breathe the fresh air and listen to the birds welcome summer. You usually leave feeling refreshed, rejuvenated, but then sometimes there's this little nag, this little worry. And what you're worried about is a couple of days later, scratching behind Benny's ears and finding this, an attached, engorged tick. Because you know that the black-legged tick causes Lyme disease. Your sister had Lyme disease, and it was terrible. It took them forever to figure out what was causing her swollen, painful joints. So you're worried that you or Benny will end up with Lyme disease, and before you know it, you'll have permanent damage. Lyme disease is the #1 vector-borne disease in the US and the UK, and it's spreading because of a warming planet. Over 500,000 people in the US annually are diagnosed with Lyme disease, and in 2024 alone, 520,000 dogs were diagnosed. In New England, 58% of horses have been found to be positive. It creates a $1.3 billion burden on the US healthcare system, and if it's not caught promptly, it causes chronic Lyme with symptoms like arthritis, facial paralysis, brain inflammation, and even death. And it gets worse. 10 to 35% of people experience treatment failure because it's not caught fast enough. But there is a silver lining. If it's caught early, it's easily treatable. If you find out about Lyme disease exposure within 72 hours of removing a tick and take a one-time prophylactic dose of a $4 common antibiotic, you can stop it in its tracks. Or you wait until you have symptoms and you end up taking antibiotics for at least 4 weeks. And unfortunately, current testing options are too slow. You have two choices. You can pull off that tick, package it, mail it, pay up to $200, and wait up to 2 weeks for the results, missing that 72-hour window for the fast treatment. Or you can wait till you have symptoms, go to the clinic, get a blood test where they look for antibodies, prove you have Lyme, and then you start that longer treatment. So what about not worrying? And imagine if you could go outdoors feeling protected and empowered because you know you can tell almost immediately if you or your loved one has been exposed to Lyme disease. You no longer have to imagine. With Lyme Alert's patent-pending, one-of-a-kind tick testing kit, in less than 30 minutes, you can use our tick crusher and our COVID-like assay to determine whether or not the tick you removed carried Lyme disease, and you can seek treatment quickly. We're pairing that with a computer vision-enabled app where you can scan the test, and it creates hotspot maps, sort of like ways of Lyme disease, and you can make sure that you are protected before you go for that hike. We are entering a beachhead market of high-end equine, where the horses are worth millions of dollars, and this is a hair-on-fire problem. We'll then quickly enter into the domestic pet market, where combined, these $30 billion markets have high exposure to ticks, low regulatory hurdles, and a high willingness to pay. Then by year 3, we're going to move into the human market. As we enter into the equine market, we are using a B2B2C model, where we're going to be selling to high-end farms, vets, and distributors. We've already started conversations with Chewy and MWI. The MWI is one of the biggest vet distributors in the country. We're starting with a kit cost of $50 because of that high willingness to pay, and with cost of goods sold about $6 initially, we expect to have a net margin of about 85%. Moving. Our competitive position is strong. As I've shared already, our closest competitors are mail-in ticks or getting the antibody test. Both are expensive and too slow. We have done over 500 customer interviews, many of them during Delta V, and we know that there is a need for this solution. We've already obtained 2 letters of intent from high-end horse farms for $240,000 of pre-sales, and with no advertising or marketing budget, we've sold about $5,000 of kits on our website. We have an experienced multidisciplinary team with deep expertise in research and development, healthcare, and operations. Erin, Brenda, and I met each other as Sloan Fellows last year. We completed Delta V last summer, and we are committed to working on this full time. We've been very fortunate to recruit an amazing board of advisors that we've picked just for where we are in the company and for our beachhead market, including Dr. Charles Cooney, who is a legend here at MIT, as well as Dr. Mark Riley, who is a vet who literally wrote the book Lyme Disease in Horses, as well as Gene Carroll, who is the owner of Bear Spot Farms and the #2 dressage horse in the country. So our ask of Sloanies helping Sloanies, Please help us increase Lyme disease awareness and how important it is to be treated early. Please follow us on LinkedIn and Instagram. Sign up for our newsletter on our website. Check out our pre-sales. We're also doing a fundraising for a seed round, so if you have any introductions to foundations or angels that seem to focus on social impact, we'd be greatly appreciative. We've also got a live SPV family and friends round that I can share with you if you want to chat about it afterwards. So finally, we're Lyme Alert. We're all in, but we need your help. Join us in crushing Lyme disease, one tick at a time.
Well done. No, stay up here. Stay up here.
I'm just going to put this down, but we're good.
Okay, so remember, Sloanies helping Sloanies. Let's get some feedback going and let's see what you can do. So first question, okay, yes, back there.
I work for Zoetis. We have a vaccine against Lyme. Are you aware of it, and how do you position this with the vaccine?
Yeah, no, that's great. So we're very much aware that there is a vaccine against Lyme. My dog has had it. Our response is similar to all of us who get COVID and flu vaccines. It's not 100% protection. It can reduce the symptoms. But also we see our kit as another tool in the toolbox so that people can be more aware. And Aaron and Brenda went to VMX, one of the biggest vet conferences, and they spoke to vets who said that the use rate of preventatives is only around 40%, if that high. And they think that by seeing where Lyme is and that there are ticks, getting on their pets that have Lyme, they'll be more likely to do things like preventatives and get the vaccine. So we see it as a tool, not a competition.
Any other questions before we move on to the next? Yes, with the yellow shirt, I guess.
Hi.
Sorry, that's an inside joke for my class. So the one concern I have is you crush the tick. So if you just see the wound and not the tick, how do you diagnose?
Yeah, so again, not everybody finds the tick. This is a tool in the toolbox, but that's also why we're starting with our current beachhead market, high-end equine and pets, because you do typically find the tick on the horses. Matter of fact, the high-end horse farms that we're talking to, they hire grooms because when the horses come from the field, they'll pull the ticks off of them. So that is why that is our intention. Yeah.
And to your third category of Sloanies helping Sloanies, there are at least 2 TPD angels in the room, and you should come find us and maybe...
I would love that. Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, make sure you guys find each other afterwards, but I do want to keep us moving. Okay, our next speaker, I'm going to go with his last name because I'm class of 2015. 2015 in the house, MBAs, come on. And I knew you as Nolte. Nolte, who was coming in and was amazing talking about hip hop and the arts and getting involved. And I was like, wow, like that's a really cool space to be in. And I just remember being inspired by how you wanted to pivot into this new space. And for me, I remember being scared about going into entrepreneurship and then doing the same thing and going into entrepreneurship. So thank you for being somebody that I could talk to at that time. So, and I also want to thank you for all the support that you've given all of the teams in the Art Startup Incubator. Thank you, thank you. So if any of you are interested in being mentors to upcoming rising entrepreneurs, I'm connected to a lot of the different programs that we provide. Please reach out to me or Bill, and Bill will reach out to me. And we will make sure to connect you with the rising crop of entrepreneurs that definitely will benefit as much as they have from Nolte's mentorship as they will from yours. So, co-founder, chief operating officer from Duetti, over to you, sir.
Hi, everyone. Let's see, I got it. All right, hi. I'm Chris. I'm going to talk to you about music, which is obviously not a topic we talk about at MIT that often, right? And of course, Bill Aulet is a very tough act to follow. If I had remembered that better, I probably wouldn't have agreed to be here. But here we are. And of course, so is Michelle. So I'm going to give you a brief pitch about our company, Duetti, and then I'm really excited to learn from you because this is probably the smartest audience the music industry has ever seen. So Our company is Duetti. I'm one of the 2 co-founders. I'm our COO, Money for Your Music. We are building the next big music company by being the record label of the 21st century. In short, what do? We buy music catalogs from independent artists in simple, straightforward deals, and then we market and manage those catalogs to extract more value, grow the value, and we do that all with a ton of technology. And because this is MIT, we of course have a really powerful neural network prediction engine that we use for those valuations and also for the marketing and the sourcing. Our traction to date is we've done this with over 700 artists in the little under 3 years that we've been around. We started the company in June 2022. We're currently signing artists at a rate of 50 to 60 per month in deals between 10,000 and $7 million. And just for reference, because most of you aren't from the industry, some of the biggest record labels in the world sign about 12 to 14 artists a year. So we've amassed over 8,000 works that we own. And in terms of marketing, one of our favorite KPIs is that we have a playlist network to promote the music with over 2 million followers, thousands of playlists. If you type in such beautiful things on Spotify as, for example, I Hate Men, the first playlist that comes up is one of ours. We've raised close to $500 million, and we've deployed, and we're very proud of this, so I'm personally very proud of this, up to $150 million is what we've committed, and we've put $120 million into pockets of independent artists to date. That's been my personal mission since I came here to Sloan, and that is what I'm most excited about. Why do artists love us? Like I said before, our deals are very fast and very simple. You don't need a lawyer to understand, and they're very flexible. So an artist can sell us 1 song, 2 songs, their entire catalog, or even just half. And because we only focus on their old music, they get to create what they're doing going forward without any interference. They don't have to give up anything of their next album to keep 100% of that. We don't get involved in their creativity one bit. And then finally, we take care of what we've acquired. We market it and we manage it, and we do that on us. We don't put it on the artist's bill. They don't run up a balance. They don't have to give us any money back. And they get someone in their court who's got really advanced marketing capabilities. So that's enough for me. I figured since we are a media company and we're a music company, I'll show you a little sizzle to kind of tie this all together.
Real, won't you take me by the hand? I didn't want to feel 'cause life felt too hard. Now it's all a game that I don't understand. Wake up, live someone else's dream. Smile, smile, 'cause they're all watching. Shake up, shake down. They can't hear you scream. Smile, smile, can't you hear me sing?
That's it. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. I remember when we had Hacking Arts here, and you were working on Tape Tap, and then went into all kinds of different other arts industries. Any of you guys remember Hacking Arts? Yes? Okay. Great. For those of you that do, if you're interested in learning more about it, also make sure to ask us, because I think that that's such an opportunity to support entrepreneurship, technology, and the arts. So what questions do you have? What support can you give? Come on. Yes?
How do you assess talent? Like, how do you, someone sends you a catalog or a track, and you say, yeah, this is good.
Yeah, so we look at any artist that's making at least $2,000 a year from their music, and we're purely data-driven. So we, of course, have mechanisms to ensure they're not selling us white noise, but beyond that, we look at data that we have in-house, and data that they send us through financial statements. Imagine if you're applying for a mortgage and you upload a bank statement or something like that. And then that's where the model and the forecasting model comes in, and there's human in the chain and gets evaluated. Yeah.
How is it for an artist if they get very success to switch to another company?
If they get success after working with us, well, so we only own whatever they sell us, but we own that forever. But they can go work with whoever they want immediately with any of their other music.
Mm-hmm.
Are you open to work with artists in other countries, other languages?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have music from artists from over 30 countries already. We have a lot of music from my native country, from Germany, but also from Brazil, from as far as Ghana, Uganda, so many countries all over the world, yeah.
And are there any specific asks that you have for the audience? Like, hey, I'm looking specifically for this or that?
Yes, thank you for the reminder. So we're always fundraising, and we're always hiring. And of course, we love, I like to say when we hire that we're one of the only companies in the music industry that hires for your resume and not for your Instagram profile. So we're a very special place to work.
Great, good.
Do you know a company called Access Point?
No.
It's a music licensing company.
Great.
But more importantly, it was founded by a Sloan 95 who will be here later this evening.
Oh, awesome.
Perfect.
Great.
Excellent. We'll do another connection. Make sure to connect again, because we are running out of time, so I want to make sure that we keep you on time. But thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, and then to close this out, really excited to introduce Chris. He's co-founder and president of ShopMy. You started it after you graduated, have been growing it, got it through to Series B, and you've been amassing a wonderful team that we've had the opportunity to work with. So we can't wait to learn more. Come on up, Chris. As we transition slides. I feel like I should play the Jeopardy song or something in between as we do that. And then I think we have our C function afterwards. So hopefully you guys are thinking about conversations that you want to have, so then when you get there, you can continue to help each other. Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. As mentioned, I'm Chris, one of the founders of ShopMy, which I launched right out of Sloan 5 years ago. Right in the heart of COVID, so it was great timing. And despite what Bill said, that we don't do social media stuff here, we're about to talk social media stuff. Maybe. So before jumping in, I just wanted to include like a snapshot of a recent article about ShopMy in Women's Wear Daily, because it just captures so much of what we do, I thought, so well. So as you can see, it reads, long considered second tier, affiliate marketing gains ground. When big splashy campaigns are out of budget, this less sexy channel has become core to reaching consumers. I say that because that is so much at the heart of what we do. We've taken what was long considered this like old, lowbrow sort of business model, the idea that you could earn commissions on sales of products or services, and apply it to influencer marketing, which we have found has really unlocked a lot of potential in obviously what is a very fast-growing industry. In fact, when I first pitched this concept 5 years ago at Sloan, the one piece of feedback I got was, hey, nice pitch, but just don't use the term affiliate marketing. And here we are 5 years later, still talking about affiliate marketing. But let me just jump back 5 years ago as to like the why we built ShopMy. So one was the affiliate technology on the marketplace was very dated and cumbersome to use. So what that meant was, not only if I was an influencer trying to earn commissions on my product recommendations, it was very difficult, but also the technology didn't map well to the current social landscape. Two is the influencers lack data. So influencers are frequently on social media talking about their product recommendations, but would have no underlying data and analytics on which to judge that success or know what was resonating with their audience. And then several brands were souring on this space of influencer marketing, because in the early rise of influencer, brands were doing these big, large, flat fee campaigns, very nebulous ROI. So despite this channel showing a lot of promise, brands didn't yet know how to properly execute it or take a data-driven approach on how to harness its potential. And another thing I should have put up here was 97% of shopping decisions from Gen Z happen on social media. And that was true 5 years ago, and that's still happening today, and it's only become a larger percentage. No longer are people walking into a mall to discover new products and new brands. We like to say that creators and influencers really are the retailers of today, curating brands and curating products to talk to about their audience and earning a commission on those sales. So what is ShopMy? So ShopMy is a platform connecting creators and brands. It's a partnerships platform that allow them to work closely together. So for influencers, they can sign up for a ShopMy account and they can instantly tap into 60,000 plus brands and retailers and easily earn a commission on those sales of products. Importantly, ShopMy was built to be totally platform agnostic. So if an influencer is on Substack, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, wherever they're out putting out content, we are sort of that underlying tech layer that facilitates the path to purchase from social to checkout so they can earn a commission on all the sales that they drive. And ShopMy operates as a two-sided marketplace. So for brands, we help them build out their creator ambassador programs and effectively take influencer marketing from being this sort of top of funnel awareness play into a true performance channel. So I think one of the most valuable things that we do for brands is show them which influencers are driving sales for them, how much they're driving, how many clicks they're driving, so they know and can optimize their influencer partnerships and ensure they're taking a smart data-driven approach to how they're incentivizing influencers to talk about their brands. And of course, then we have the shoppers who are on social media trying to discover product recommendations. And again, our goal is to make that whole discovery process as seamless as possible. So here you'll see, this is an example of an influencer's storefront. So they can build this out on our mobile app and effectively monetize any product under the sun for their audience to click through and buy. And then that's a snapshot of our brand dashboard on the back end. So a brand, as you can see, can easily see on a per influencer basis how much order volume they're driving, where it's coming from. So again, they know sort of the real value of those partnerships. Just a quick slide on what we've accomplished. So today, ShopMy drives about 85 million in GMV every single month. In total, as you can see, we've driven 520 million to our brand partners. So today we have over 150,000 influencers on the platform, and we have over 800 subscribed brand partners on the platform as well. And you can see some of the examples, luxury, fashion, you gotta love it. And then looking forward, as was mentioned, so we just closed our Series B round. That was led by Bessemer Ventures and Bain Capital. So we are in active, aggressive growth mode at the moment. And jumping ahead to the ask. So as was stated in the last presentation, the best asks we can think of is one, hiring. We are, of course, actively hiring at all levels. And I totally agree. Talk about an industry that we judge by a resume and not someone's Instagram profile. That is definitely true with us. And then, of course, brand and influencer intros, should anybody in this room have any that they think would be a good fit. So thank you.
What have you found makes a great creator influencer?
Yeah, I
as
mean,
people are thinking about.
Yeah, another thing I could have mentioned is we think that for so long the industry was based on the vanity metrics where you look at an influencer's following and think, oh, therefore they must be a great fit for their brand. We find the best and most effective influencers are ones that build a strong, engaged audience that is really based on loyalty and trust. I mean, we have influencers who have 10,000 followers that earn an incredible income doing this. It far surpasses ones with 5 or 10 million followers, for example. So ones that are able to maintain that level of authenticity and trust with their audience and can keep an engaged audience are always the best performers.
Yeah, and I think what's great about that too is taking it to disciplined entrepreneurship. They know what their beachhead is and they know how to connect. So how can you guys help? What are some questions that you have? Hands up. Yep, back there.
After the second slide, you mentioned commissions. And I'm just curious, what % of your business is commission, or how much is paid out, or percentage, can you say?
Yeah, so we have a kind of a multitude of revenue streams. Most of our company revenue is a SaaS model on the brand side. So we have a variety of packages that brands can subscribe to on the monthly basis. We also earn a cut of influencer commission. So roughly they'll keep 85% of their shop revenue, we'll keep 15%. And they're typically earning commissions between 15 and 40% of a given product or brand. So whatever they're selling, that's generally the cut that they can expect.
Yep, go ahead.
Just US only or worldwide?
No, worldwide.
Are there specific markets that you're really keen on?
Yeah, the UK, I mean, so we're biggest in the US, probably no surprise, but the UK is growing probably the fastest outside of the US for us.
Great, go ahead.
Yeah, how do you position yourself versus other creative networks?
Yeah, I think what's differentiated about us is being a two-sided marketplace. Like you'll find it's a very noisy space, as you might imagine, but most of the players, if you look at them, they're really either built for one side or the other. They're either building for influencers and not brands, or brands and not influencers. And sort of our thesis is you really have to have those two sides working in conjunction with another in order for both to see and maximize the benefit. We just think, not even in the future, right now, influencers want to connect directly with their brand partners as seamlessly as possible, and brands want that data at their fingertips as fast as possible. So we just think inherently the two-sided structure is key.
Beautiful. Okay. I know we've gotten to time because I think we were supposed to end at 5:30. So thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you. It's always my pleasure to host you and share the rising crop of innovation. We hope that you continue to push it forward and also give back. So however we can help you in that capacity, we're here, Martin Trust Center, Jenny, and Bill. Thanks. Enjoy the rest of Alumni Weekend.